It is time, ladies and gentlemen, time for Saturday movie night. How is everybody doing? It is Saturday, October the 26th, 2019. I am Dave McRae. And, yeah, we are broadcasting live from Toronto, Ontario, Canada. And for those of you that are tuning in after the live feed, what this is Saturday Movie Night. This is a Patreon exclusive for my level 2 and 3 patrons on my Patreon. Now, if you want to have an opportunity to get to vote on the movie that I watch and give commentary on, you have to be part of level number 3, but you can be part of level number 2 and join in on the live feed, which is what this is. But once the live feed is done, it goes right up onto my channel for everybody to watch. And yeah, just watch the commentary and my thoughts on the movie that I'm watching. And tonight, I am watching Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers. That is what everybody voted on. Just narrowly beat out Scream by one vote. It beat out Scream by one vote. I tell you, man, we're a Halloween family, it seems. I put Halloween down there, and I thought Halloween H2O was going to get some love, and it didn't really get any love. I thought Halloween 2018 was going to get some love. Didn't get any love. It was between this and the original Scream from 1996. I just thought I'd bust out my VHS copy. This is not what I'm watching. I'm watching a digital copy, but This is from, like, the 90s. Look how shiny that is. It's in immaculate condition. I'm one of those people that, you know, when I buy boxes, I'd be like, no. I was one of those guys. So we are watching the theatrical cut tonight. And the reason why I settled on the theatrical cut as opposed to the producer's cut is because I understand that the producer's cut is largely liked more, and that is primarily because it gives more context, it makes more sense because there's some scenes added in there, even though I think there's also some ridiculous scenes added in there as well. I understand why people tend to favor the producer's cut a bit more, but the theatrical cut was what they released in 1995. It was the first Halloween movie that I ever saw in the movie theater. Back in 1995, I was 16 years old, and that was the movie they released. It was the Weinstein's version, essentially, that they wanted, not necessarily what the Akkads were kind of hoping. Anyways, you know the story. The whole thing is back. I mean, they were reshooting shit, and the Akkads didn't even know about it, and the Weinsteins were kind of going in under the radar and all this. It was crazy stuff. I'm sure you know your Halloween 6 history, and I don't need to dive deep into it. But nonetheless, that's why I want to watch it, because I'm like, no, hey. The producer's cut wasn't even a thing until much later, okay? And you could make the argument that it's not really canon. I mean, I know you can make it canon, but for me, this was the movie that you released in the theaters. You made your bed, now you lie in it. You know what I'm saying? Not my problem. You didn't communicate. You weren't communicating with the people you should have been communicating with. This is what you released. This is what we watch. That's kind of how I feel about it. But hey, maybe in the future, I'll do a Saturday movie night where we watch the producer's cut as well, and then kind of make a comparison or whatever. But that's primarily why I want to tackle the theatrical cut, because I'm like, no. You put it out there. We're going to watch it. Oh, we're going to watch it. So anyway, I have the movie up here on my screen. I've shifted it over here today because I was doing something and I need something up over here. There's something going on. So I've moved it over here. So if you see me looking this way, like this, that's because I'm watching the screen, but I thought I would settle into a nice comfort kind of zone, and I have the chat room up over here. So yeah, let's get to it. So right on the screen right now, I have the Dimension logo on the screen. So I think I do anyway. Let's see, it blacked out here. Yes, the Dimension logo on the screen. So if you guys want to set it up to the Dimension logo, do that now. Are you guys? Hey, good. We got some people. Andrew Solid Stevens is here. Frank Riker, the mighty Frank the Tank. Thunder Knock Studios is here. And Darren Sands is here. Jacqueline McEwen is here. Great, awesome stuff. Welcome, everybody. So, all right, let's do this. Okay, the Dimensions logo is on the screen. It is paused. I'm hitting play right now. It says Dimension Films. And then it is, what's happening here? Let's see here. Coming up on the screen now is, oh, those sounds, right? And the flashes and all that stuff. And that's right. Flashes are up on the screen. Mustafa Akkad Presents is at the top of the screen right now. A Nightfall production. Thunder Knock Studio says, I just noticed Myers is wearing black gloves in the front cover. Yeah, I don't know if that's supposed to be Myers or if that's the hand of the man in black. Halloween, the Curse of Michael Myers has just popped onto the screen with Bradley taking over the role. I think that's her name, right? J.C. Bradley, I think was her name. Taking over the role of Jamie Lloyd. Where is she being wheeled to? What is going on? This makes no fucking sense. And of course, at the beginning of this movie, we have the voiceover by Paul Rudd. In the producer's cut, it's actually Dr. Loomis, which actually makes kind of more sense. Some people have asked me, I think I just spat some water. Some people have asked me, do I like the producer's cut more? And like, yes, because it gives context to things and it makes things make more sense. You know, in terms of continuity, in terms of the story, but I don't like the story. So it's not like the producer's cut is a completely different movie with a whole different. No, I don't like the fact that Dr. Wynn is, you know, takes off the mask and it's Dr. Wynn and Michael's taken off in the suit, and I'm just so absurd. It's just so absurd to me. Let's see here. How's everybody doing? Everybody watching, everybody having a nice Saturday night. Halloween is next Thursday. Who's excited for Halloween? Hey, don't forget, episode 40, was it 3 or 4? 4, I think, of Two Dudes and Some Bullshit. Next Thursday, Saturday night, Tony and I are watching the original Halloween right here live. So don't forget that. J.C. Bradley, he was cute. She was, did she ever go on to do anything else? I don't really know. Frank Riker says, Michael loves changing clothes. He does. I just thought that was so absurd. Like, when I watched the producer's cut, I was like, yeah, I mean, okay, all right, it's a better movie of this story, but I don't like the story. So, I mean, take that how you want to take it. But great crane show. I will say this, though. Coming off of the garbage shit show that was Halloween 5, this movie, you got to give credit where credit is due. The cinematography is fantastic. The mood and the atmosphere in terms of the autumn fall environment is great. I mean, just look at the behind the scenes of them shooting this movie in, I believe, October of 1994. And they're shooting in the fall in Salt Lake City, Utah. I mean, just it looks like it does then right now here in Toronto. It's just the leaves are all orange and red and there's leaves all over the ground and shit. And that's like real shit. It's great stuff. But I remember when I saw this in the theater, I remember thinking, what's going on here? Like, what is, of course I was a little too young, not little, I mean, I was 16, but I was a bit young to get like, what cult thing? Sam Hain, the Druids? What the fuck? It's crazy stuff. Frank Riker says the producer's cut was so hard to find, and I believe it took 10 years to officially release unless you had a bootleg. Well, that's what I'm saying, and that's why I wanted to watch the theatrical cut, because it's like, well, hang on a second here. It was many years before you could even get the producer's cut on Blu-ray officially. I think now you can actually get, I think you can get it officially now. But back in 1995, 96, 97, 98, 99, 2000, 2001, 2002, no, you couldn't do that. This was the movie. This was it. So it's like, no, you made your bed. You're going to fucking lie in it now. This is the movie we're watching. This is what you presented to us. This is what you told us was the movie and the story. So there. Love the lighting, though. Love the lighting. I'm at the point where Jamie, I say that because obviously some fans don't like that it wasn't Danielle, but she's running through the just great locations. Running through the basement of Smith's Grove, I guess, or wherever she is. Go! Get out of here! Just go! The nurse or whatever she says. I will say, though, that the actress they got to play Jamie, I do believe that is an adult version of Jamie. It's not like I look at her and I think to myself, that looks nothing like her. Like, I don't even, no, I buy it. I totally buy this the same kid. Older. Jacqueline McEwen says, the intro has always bugged me. Michael didn't kill the whole family one by one at this point in the continuity. The only family member he actually killed was Judith. That's actually true. That's actually a good point. I did like when he comes out of the shadows there, out of the, like him coming out of the darkness there in front of the nurse or behind the nurse. Just that one moment is better than anything in Halloween 5. And, you know, I gotta say, although I'm not particularly a fan of, you know, the guitar, you know, it's pretty cool here. I mean, you know, it suits the picture. I love when Jamie, you know, she just lifts open the hatch and just all that fog and the lighting and Michael's coming. Like, it's like this whole scene here. Now, remember, we're not talking about the story in the movie. We're just talking about the visual aesthetic, the cinematography. I mean, this entire opening is better visually and more on par with Halloween 4 than anything Halloween 5 did. Darren Sand says, George Wilbur is such a lump in this film, creeping around belly first. Looks so odd for Halloween film. That is true. Poor George. Yes, he looked a little more svelte in Halloween 4, but I guess in the, what was it? 8 years or 7 years, because obviously it was shot in 94. He put on a little bit of weight. And yeah, he did look a little, Michael had been drinking a little bit, I think. I think he'd been drinking in that time off. Thunder Knock Studio says, this is better chase scene than when the Shape hunts Allison. It is. Not necessarily better music, but you're absolutely right. I mean, in terms of the chase, it's much more suspenseful. I will say, though, I do agree that I think, oh yeah, that's supposed to be the Myers house. I'll talk about that. Actually, let me. Yeah, kill for me, Danny, or kill for him, Danny, or whatever. I will say this, because I'm at the point now where Danny wakes up in bed. I will say this, that, and I've said this many times, the Myers house in this movie looks nothing like the Myers house, right? But it looks a hell of a lot more like the Myers house than the dreadful, epic fail of production, whoever the production coordinator was. And I know that it was intentional, but whatever that was in Halloween 5, I can look at this house and go, okay, well, it doesn't look like the Myers house, but okay, maybe it's had some renovations, you know? Like, at least they got the front porch sort of in the right area and the windows on the side. Like, it's, you know, it's more acceptable. Of course, the interiors of this house were not shot so the exteriors and the interiors are two completely different locations. I think I read that back in the 60s, the exterior of the Myers house in this movie, so not the interior, but the exterior, I read that house was a whorehouse back in the 60s or something. I think I read that. Did I hear that or something? It was, yeah, like full on, like, yeah, back in the 50s or the 60s, or maybe it was a bit before that. It was crazy stuff. So, for example, the bedroom where Kara, it's Kara, right? It's been a while. Where she is, that's not in the house that you're led to believe it is. It's completely different. And they did up this whole thing because I think the house was abandoned. Wasn't it abandoned? And they set designed the entire thing, if I'm not mistaken. Frank Riker says the Myers house was built on the same lot as Poltergeist. Yeah, apparently. There he is, Paul Rudd. Now, this was his first movie, but this movie actually came out after Clueless. It was shot before Clueless, but it actually came out after Clueless, which is why you see in this movie at the beginning introducing Paul Rudd, even though it was released many months after. That's why. I think Clueless was released. When was Clueless released? I want to say it was earlier on in 95, for sure. So I'm at the scene now where it's great cinematography. It really is. Like, think of this, like just that lightning flash. I think we're in Dr. Loomis's place now, and just the lightning and the rain outside. Like, just the whole look of this is great. It looks great. Dr. Loomis is typing on his typewriter. I'm at the point now where he's going to go, not dead, just very much retired. He's about to say that here. Here it is. He's saying it now. And who's he talking to? Why is he turning and going, oh? I mean, a little bit of a breaking of the fourth wall there. I will say this. So Dr. Wynn now is coming over to Hermit Dr. Loomis's little place. I was disappointed in the way that they offed Jamie. Now, I was. I think they should, if you were going to kill the character, I think you could have given the character a little more respect than they did. I don't know. I just didn't like it. And I don't think the writer did either, if memory serves. Listen, I'm going to say this. Like, I don't like the story. I don't like the direction. But I understand why the writer, his name escapes me right now, made the creative decisions he made. He was looking at the dog shit show that is Halloween 5 and thinks, well, what can I do? Okay, well, I'm going to take this thorn. I'm going to try to make something out of this, which really was the right thing to do. Instead of just pretending it didn't exist and going off over here, which is what they did with H2O, and a lot of people were happy about that. I'm sort of the mind that you fucked it. Like, yeah, like you made your bed, now you got to lie in it. Like, I mean, just I don't like I understand why he made the choices he did, and I actually think when you do watch the producer's cut and you get more of the context and more of the story, even though I think there are things in there that are laughable. I understand why he's making those choices when you watch Halloween 5. It's why I always say that I'm at the point, by the way, where Jamie is in the phone booth on the phone. Cutting here to Tommy Doyle now. It's why it's so important that I forgot what I was going to say. I was just basically saying that it's I understand why they made the creative choice he made, and I get it. I mean, I don't know what else you could have done to carry the story. Oh, that's what I was going to say. That's why I always say that Halloween 5 was the one that ruined the franchise. Now, I mean, you could go back and say, no, it was 2, it was 3, it was, whatever. But I'm just saying, like, 4 was, 4 didn't introduce Thorn. 4 didn't introduce, cults and Men in Black and these weird things. And I don't know where you would have gone with 4. I have ideas, as you've heard me talk about, but 5 is the one that just takes it in such a different direction. And then the filmmakers say, okay, now here, and it's like, well, what do I do with this? Okay, well, I guess I have to make something out of this, which is what that writer did. Unfortunately, the damage had already been done. It's similar how I feel about The Last Jedi right now. There's only so much. If I can leave the theater going, you know what, that was all right. I should be able to leave the theater from The Rise of Skywalker and be like, that was fucking amazing. But it might not be possible. And that's not JJ's fault. That's just because he's got to do so much in one movie because of the devastation and the incompetence of The Last Jedi. So, if I can leave the theater going, okay, all right. He salvaged what he could, and it was all right. It was all right. Then that's the least we can hope for. Halloween 6 is kind of that movie in some ways. Even though I just don't like the story. I just think it gets so far away from what they were trying to do. This is a great shot, despite the fact that George needs to lose some weight. Looking up the stairs, seeing the rain on the wall, the silhouette with his silhouette. That's a great shot. That shot alone is better than anything in Halloween 5. This shot of Jamie Lloyd huddled in the bathroom stall with the lightning flickering on her face is better than anything in Halloween 5. It reminds me of how much, this would have been my concept for the sequel to Halloween 2018, my sequel concept idea. I totally would have, it would have been this level of mood and shit. Tabitha Short says, where are we? Tabitha, I'm at the point where Michael Myers is, he's opening stall doors now, trying to get to Jamie Lloyd. That's where I am. I'm about 15 minutes and 50 seconds into the movie. Darren Sand says, the director Joe Chappell didn't like Donald Pleasance, found him boring and felt that it slowed the pace of the film. I heard about that. And I think there were even things they agreed to cut with him in it, which is unfortunate. But Joe Chappell, the director of the film, it is really well known that he was not a Halloween fan. Now, I guess the Michael is chasing Jamie here. He's in the van and she's in this truck. Truck kind of looks like interesting. Great mood, though. It is great mood. Now, I don't know if Joe Chappell didn't like Halloween and thought the movies were dumb and garbage. That's very different from being not a Halloween fan, right? I'm not a superhero fan by and large. I've only seen 2 or 3 of the Marvel films, right? It's not my thing. But I don't hate them. I'd sit and, I don't hate it, right? So I'm not sure if he just wasn't a fan or if he just he hated it. But even the actress who played, is it Kara Strode? I think that's it, right? Even she says that he wasn't a fan. And he made it very clear that he wasn't a fan. Now, surprisingly, his directing sensibilities were very good. He's telling a very creepy, eerie horror movie, So, it's his sense of lighting, obviously that's the DP as well, but obviously, the DP and the director work very close with each other. His sense of camera angles and foreground, background. Here's a great shot of Myers. Jamie turns her head, sees Michael only in the illumination of the lightning, and then he disappears. That is brilliant. I love that shot. That shot is better than anything in Halloween 5 and maybe in Halloween 4. That is a brilliant shot. You probably, for those of you that have watched my sequel concept idea video, you'll remember me saying things like, he was only visible in the illumination of the lightning. That's what I'm talking about. It's brilliant. That is that's the shape 101. Now imagine if it was a guy who had a bit, well, it was okay. I'm too hard on George. but that's great. So for a guy who didn't like Halloween, he's got it. He's got the rhythm down a bit. So now Michael picks up Jamie Lloyd and throws her onto that machine or whatever it is, that farm equipment. This is unfortunate. I mean, it's I think she deserved a better, classier death if they were going to kill her. Andrew Solid Steven says, ending my work night with Dave's commentary. I love it. Awesome. That's what I like to hear, buddy. Oh, that's too bad. Darren Sand says, seriously, Michael in this movie just looks like one of my many Instagram cosplay dudes you see around this time of year. Yeah, that's a good point. I can totally see that. Yep. He's definitely shown, like, again, it's relative too. Like, I agree. They show him way too much in the movie. And the mask, I've never been a fan of the Halloween 6 mask. Never been a fan of it. I don't hate it. I mean, it's much better than the Halloween 5 mask. But it's never been a favorite of mine. But when you come from Halloween 5 and you watch Halloween 6, it's just light years ahead of Halloween 5, which isn't saying much really at the end of the day because the bar is so low. You know what I mean? But I mean, you know, you give credit where credit is due. There was a lot of mood there in that opening. So this shot here is we see the Myers house, right? And then that thing on the front lawn that says sold, he's coming. That house in the back there is supposed to be the Myers house. And I totally buy it. You know, yeah, okay, fine. Doesn't look like it, but okay. And you see the autumn leaves and everything, and that's what it looks like around here now. And that's probably about October 1994 when they were shooting that, and they were shooting it in Salt Lake City. Now, the wind that is blowing the leaves there, that's probably a fan, because if you look in the background at the foliage behind the house, the trees aren't blowing. So that's probably a fan, but nonetheless, it works. And this looks, I totally believe that's Haddonfield. And it's autumn, and it's a cloudy day, which is really cool. And yeah, just that shot there looks better than anything in the previous movie. Now, this interior here, this is crazy. Did you know that a lot of the interiors of the Myers house we're seeing here with the family, there was snow outside. A ton of snow. Oh yeah, it had already snowed. And this is not the same house. Like I said, it's a different house for the interiors. But there was a lot of snow outside. There's a little behind the scenes video online. I saw it a long time ago, actually, because I think it was online once before and then it was removed. And then I think it's back up online. It's like an hour and a half long, and you can watch a lot. I don't know who it was that was taking the behind the scenes, but you can watch a lot of it, and it's pretty cool. I think it's still up online. It's pretty cool to see. But yeah, I was surprised to see that they actually, not surprised to see that they were shooting at a different location, but how much snow was actually outside during this. So, yeah, big snowfall. So I'm at the scene now where the dad is giving it to Kara. He hates his little kid. Hates her little kid. And the mom's so, like, the mom is that mousy sort of, reminds me of the woman from What About Bob, you know? Well, okay, Leo. Shut up. You can totally, but they play it well because you can tell that this is an abusive relationship, you know. And that, I mean, it's a carefully calculated, creative choice. This woman is no doubt, and I'm talking about the mom, no doubt at the very least verbally abused by her husband, and more than likely physically abused by her because he just slaps his daughter. So you can tell it's a very abusive relationship. Andrew Solid Steven says, Frank says, where's Loomis burn scars? Frank, I believe they mentioned plastic surgery to his scars in the producer's cut. Oh, interesting. You know, and Loomis at this point was so old, although he wasn't that old. He looks, it's so funny, how there are some people in this world that can live into their 80s and can be like 81 or even 75 and you can tell they're an older person, but they're spry, witty, charming, with it, quick. Hey, what's going on? And then there's Loomis. Like, if you had told me that Loomis was 84 in this movie, I'd totally buy it. Like, in real life, I'd buy it. How are you? Totally buy it. He's not. I think he's 74 or 3 or 2 or whatever he is. He's in his early 70s, I think. But he seems like my dad died at 69. Not that much younger than Donald Pleasance. And my dad didn't even look anything like how old he looks. So it's funny how some people age. I always think this is a cute shot of that kid with his hat backwards and his little ears out like this. He was a cute kid. Very cute kid. So he's going off to school. Jacqueline McEwen says, I once read a review of this movie that says that the dad character makes Biff Tannen look subtle, Biff Tannen looks subtle, pretty accurate. That's funny. Yeah, he does have a bit of a Biff Tannen vibe. That's really good. I like that. There's Dr. Loomis. Yeah, it's Tommy, he's just standing at the window staring out at her. Like, you think he would have kind of went, oh, shit. No, he's just there like this, just looking at her. Look at him. He's just standing there. Nothing says major creeper like continuing to stand in the window. Like, he wasn't, he didn't think to pretend that maybe he was closing it or opening it or no. He just totally just continues to stand there. Now, the interior of Tommy Doyle's house, I think the interior, if I'm not mistaken, the interior of Tommy Doyle's house here is actually the interior of what is the exterior of the Myers house. Am I right on that? I think I am. I stand to be corrected, but I believe I am. Which is a little bit of interesting factoid there, if I'm right. And of course, Paul Rudd looks nothing like Tommy Doyle. I can't believe so many people were like, yeah, bring back Paul Rudd as Tommy Doyle in Halloween Kills. What the hell would you do that for? He looks nothing like... I remember when I went to see this in the theater, I was like, the Clueless guy? Because I had already seen that movie. And I'm like, okay. But clearly Tommy Doyle is going to grow up with lighter, fairer features. Paul Rudd's he's darker featured, right? Darker eyes, dark eyebrows, dark hair. I don't believe he's Tommy Doyle at all. So I was like, the guy he's talking to here, the guy that Paul Rudd here is talking to behind the counter looks more like Tommy Doyle than Paul Rudd does. Huh? Am I right? Haha. There you go. Darren Sand says the dad is a cross between Biff Tannen and Ron Perlman with the voice of John. That's totally true. That's funny. That's true. I can see that. I can totally see that. I'm at the point now where Paul Rudd is in the bathroom where he finds the baby. What is that? Thunderknock Studio says, Dave, I'll send you a screenshot of our Tommy Doyle and Halloween Night. Cool, yeah. Send it over. I'm just picturing you sending it over, and he's 6'10" and black and ripped. It's like, yeah, that's Tommy Doyle. Frank Riker says, Paul Rudd would never come back. He wants to forget he did this. Yeah, I heard about that. Offer him enough money, he'd probably come back. But yeah, it's not personal to Paul Rudd. I mean, I think if you're doing a movie that is, if you have the opportunity to do it again, you cast somebody. I mean, Anthony Michael Hall, in terms of looks, was brilliant. So are we supposed to believe that Michael burned that thorn thing in the hay? How did he do that? How did Michael burn because wouldn't he have to put the outline, do the outline in gasoline or something and then light it maybe? I don't know. Did he have gasoline on him? I don't know. Maybe he just farted on it. I don't know. I don't know. And I believe in the producer's cut too, there was some additional, there was music selection that was different as well. And, the music selection is yeah, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but I will say, yeah, the producer's cut is the better movie of this movie, but I don't think it makes the story better. If that makes sense. I'm sure, yeah, that makes sense. But this looks like fall. It looks like autumn. Paul Rudd he plays a very creepy, I guess that was the idea. It's very, very creepy. Yeah, this is the movie I saw in the theater when I went to the theater with my buddy Bruce. He was 15. I was 16. I got in, even though it was rated R, because I was 16, but looked, 30 and sounded like I do now. But Bruce couldn't get in, so he went and saw 7. And of course, in retrospect, I'm like, I should have gone and seen 7. That's the way better movie and arguably a classic. It's going to go down in history as one of the greatest psychological thrillers of all time. I mean, to have been able to say that I saw that in the theater would have been great. But nope, I chose Halloween 6. He's like, all right, I'll go see 7. So I was like, okay. He clearly saw the better movie. Frank Riker says, hey Dave, is Jamie Lee Curtis the only one who gives props to Halloween while other like Depp and Jennifer Aniston won't mention their... I don't know. I don't know. I'm not familiar with that. I'm not sure. I just think that when it comes to Halloween, Curtis has been in so many of them. So there's more material to draw from. So there's more likelihood that when she's being interviewed, and it's arguably, you could make the argument that it's her only starring role. I mean, real starring role. Jamie Lee Curtis is an icon, and she's a legend, but she's mostly known for her ensemble. I mean, I think think about it, right? I mean, even in True Lies, she was a big part of that movie, but Arnold was the star. It was her and Arnold. I mean, to be fair, but she never had the career where she was doing many movies where she was the star. So, except for the Halloween films. So there's more material to draw from, and I think it's more likely that you're going to hear her talk about it. Although when it comes to Johnny Depp and it comes to, well, I mean, Depp only did one Elm Street film, and Aniston only did one Leprechaun film, as far as I know. So I mean, they just don't talk about it because it's not at the forefront of something that you would think of. I mean, how many people think of Leprechaun outside of us? I mean, in the general pop culture, how many people think of Leprechaun when you think of Jennifer Aniston? Not too many people. You think of Friends, but there are a lot of people, even if you're not a big horror fan, that would think of Laurie Strode Halloween when you look at Jamie Lee Curtis. I think that probably has something to do with it. Darren Sand says this movie never even got a theatrical release in the UK, just went straight to DVD a year later. Oh, I didn't know that. Interesting. Well, it didn't do very well here. It didn't do very well. Mind you, it was up against 7 as well. But Sand says it's such an iconic role for JLC though, up there with Ripley and Sarah Connor. Yeah, in relation to Yep, for sure. I mean, it's her legacy. It's what she will be known for, and I think that's why in some regards, older. I'm at the part, by the way, where the mom, the mousy little mom, is, cautiously and trepidatiously, even though that's not really a word. Trepidatious is a word, though. She's cautiously walking through her house, and Dr. Loomis scares her by putting his hand on on her shoulder. That's where I am now. They're about to sit down and talk. But I think, I think as actors get older and they start entering the twilight years, not just of their lives, but of their careers, they look at certain things a bit differently because they're not as in demand, and the world is changing and they are changing. And especially for women too. It's a tough industry when you are a woman of any age, and it only gets much tougher as you get older, because unfortunately a lot of the draw and the lure of women in the entertainment industry is based on their sexuality, and that over time dissipates. And so it can be very tough for women, especially as they get older in this industry. So, but men too, not as much, but to a degree, and so I think sometimes actors look to their past and figure, well, why not, right? If it's good and keeps me working, it keeps me out there, there's a bit of a demand for it again, there's the nostalgia, and I think that's why they do it, ultimately, at the end of the day. Darren follows up. Frank Riker says, Depp had a cameo in Freddy's Dead. Oh, did he? Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know he had a cameo. Really? He did? I don't remember that. I don't remember much about that movie, let's be honest. Darren Sand says, by the way, I saw Terminator Dark Fate today. It's fine. We had fun with it. It's but it's nothing to get too excited about. Okay, cool. Well, my girlfriend and I are going to see it next weekend, because it comes out here in North America next weekend. So I'm at the part now where Danny sees the man in black just standing completely conspicuously by the van. Yeah, this is totally just, I like that. I mean, I like that nice little throwback when Tommy steps in front of Danny and Danny drops the pumpkin to mirror and parallel, of course, what happened to him as a young boy in the original film. It was a nice touch. Here's the cross between John Goodman, Biff Tannen, and Ron Perlman. I love it. I love it because it's so true. He's such a blowhard, such a blowhard. And I love this shot. I love the fact when the camera turned away with the mousy mom, comes back and you see Michael in the distance. I like that. Now, just keep in mind that when all this was being filmed, it is the dead of winter outside. Snow all over the place. Yeah, pretty cool. I don't know if there was just a freak storm that happened or what, or if the interiors were shot at a later time, like maybe in December, maybe. I'm not sure. I stand to be corrected on that, but it is full on winter outside. Oh, that was my stomach. I don't know if you guys heard that. My stomach's growling. Gotta get some water in me. The mom turns around and looks, and there's no Michael Myers. He's a drinker. Here he is, the blowhard, getting out his, what is it, whiskey, scotch? I don't know what he's getting. Rum? Who the fuck knows? Puts a little bit in a glass. He sits back. He's like, I need a drink after talking to my mousy wife. She's such a fucking bitch. Can't stand that bitch. Now, this, again, I mean, even the interior here, which is not the exterior of the house, does it look like the Myers house interior? Well, no. But it looks enough like it. The stairs are on the right side, on the right, the correct side, going up. It looks like an older sort of home. I believe that maybe it's had some renovations over the last 15 years or so. this great shot of her on the phone, Michael in the background, out of focus. It's great. You don't see his mask. You just see it blurred, and then she runs and leaves the house. And this exterior, this would have been shot probably a month before, or however much before, because I can tell you there's no snow. So this was cool. She gets lost in the laundry sheets, another callback to the original. And there he is. I like that shot. It's a nice shot, like how it's framed, and just the blood splatter all over the white sheet. That was nice. It was a cool kill. Yep, it was cool. I mean, I believe they even cut down a tree in this front yard to get the track there. I think they did. Frank Riker says, was Quentin Tarantino involved in Halloween 6? Not that I know of. Was he? Maybe he was. I don't know. I don't think he was. I've never heard that before. No idea. Hello? Mom? I guess Michael locked the door. This is when she goes into her house, into the bedroom, and finds Tommy with the baby, with her son. Frank Riker says, I think he was going to write it. Can you imagine the outcome? Oh, Tarantino, you think he was going to write it? Oh, sorry I think he was going to write it. Can you imagine the outcome? Really? I've never heard that. You could be right, Frank. And if anybody in the chat room knows that, comment and let us know. Or if you're watching after the live feed, yeah, just let us know. I've never heard that. That's wild. That would have been... Hey, it might have been so bizarre, it might have been great. I have no idea. Frank says, I'm not sure about that, Frank. I do have an audio interview with QT where he admits to lobbying the Weinsteins into pushing for Jamie Lee Curtis Oscar from H2O. Jesus, I have no idea why. Really? Yeah, the Weinsteins were big. At that was the height, or that was their prime time. Anything from the mid-90s to 2010. I mean, you could say right up till the Harvey thing, but they were coming along. And they didn't give a fuck about what Trancas or the Akkads wanted. They wanted more blood. They wanted more gore. They changed it up a bit. And I think, like they always say, I think Chappell went with it because I think Chappell... Well, let's face it. As the story goes, Chappell signed a 3-picture deal. He didn't give a fuck about Halloween. That doesn't mean he didn't like... Again, I don't know if he hated Halloween, but he certainly wasn't a Halloween fan. And he did this just because he signed a 3-picture deal. It's unfortunate that... and look what they did with... it was incompetence. I would have been fascinated... Dwight Little was the director of 4, right? I would have been fascinated to see him continue with 5. It's too bad he didn't. Because, I love Deborah Hill. We all do. She's a legend in terms of this genre. And certainly the Halloween franchise. But she made the recommendation for Dominic, whatever his name is, the director of 5. And I'm just like, why? What the hell? Well, but, and then you bring on Joe Chappell, and it's like, you should have brought back Dwight Little. I don't know if he would have done it, but, yeah, there was a lot of incompetence around this whole thing. And that doesn't mean there are not redeeming qualities. There are redeeming qualities. There's a couple of redeeming qualities in Part 5. And when you watch this movie, you're like, yeah, I guess that's the only place they could go, because you have to explain the tattoo. You have to explain the man in black, and it doesn't take a genius to find out that it's the Thorn, the Druids and so I get why they did this. It's just so out there, It's not what Carpenter intended. And I know people after the fact. Dave, come on, let it go, man. No, I just mean that it's so far away from. Yeah, it's so far away from where it started. I'm at the scene now where Tommy Doyle is. Well, they're back at Mrs. Blankenship's house with the baby, and Danny sees Michael standing outside. He's being illuminated by the lightning, which is cool. So it's a great shot. I mean, that is a great shot. Of course, yeah, it's just too bad he's a little on the heavy side. So what's everybody watching it on? Are you watching it on DVD? Are you watching it on Blu-ray, VHS? Hey, I could have watched it on VHS, people. I could have watched it on VHS. Here's what it says on the back of the VHS box. True terror never dies. For pulse-pounding suspense and relentless thrills, nothing can match Halloween, The Curse of Michael Myers, the newest and most frightening chapter in the chilling Halloween series. In a single horrifying night, Michael Myers' masked reign of terror changed Halloween forever. Now, 6 years after he was presumed dead in a fire, Myers has returned to kill again. And this time, there's no escape. As the homicidal fury builds to a spine-tingling climax, the long-hidden secrets of the screen's most maniacal murderer are revealed with shocking results. Crazy. The scariest Halloween of them all. And it's rewound. Remember, I had this. I have a bad history of looking at my old VHS tapes and them not being rewound. This one was. The Cult of Thorn. I'm at the moment here where you got the Cult of Thorn on his computer and stuff like that. I gotta say, I mean, I haven't watched this movie in quite some time, and I gotta say, I really do like the cinematography in this film. It's great. It's great. But I'm not a fan of... It's not that I'm not, yeah. And of course, isn't it the producer's cut that they, where it's implied that Myers fucked Jamie or something? Or was she artificially inseminated? Maybe she was artificially inseminated. Oh, kids might be watching. Made love, had sex. Oh, poor Don Pleasance. He looks really old. He does. He looks like he could be 88. Just some people age. Yeah, to say that Loomis was boring, I think you don't understand the nuance that the character of Loomis at this stage of the game is supposed to bring. I think Loomis should have been in this movie more. And I understand there's a few more things with him in the producer's cut, but I really believe that it should have centered on him. And because he is the backbone of the franchise, he's the nuance. He is that, okay, yes, he's not as spry and as mobile as he once was, even 5 or 6 years earlier. But you can utilize, he's so compelling when he's on screen. His screen presence, when he has the right writing. And by this point in the game, even though back in 1978 when they were shooting the original, he thought the writing was a little, sensational, and it's like, okay, people don't really talk like this, but all right. He's in a groove here. I mean, it's his, 5th Halloween movie. I mean, he knows he's settled into a groove. Write some shit, give him the time. And I know there were a few things that they did that were cut, but he should have carried the film. And he doesn't have to do any action. Just have him on screen and make it a mystery thriller, horror, like and have him, utilize him more. He is the back. He just was such a waste in this movie. Such a waste in this movie. Jim Dorsey says, I really love the fall atmosphere of Age 6. I do too, buddy. I do too. And especially coming off of Halloween 5, which was, say it with me now. Wait. Which was a shit show. I'm going to pour some water into this little shot glass. There we go. Cheers, everybody! Didn't they try to get Howard Stern to do this part? I think they did. If memory serves, I think they tried to get Howard Stern to play the role of the radio DJ. I think they did. Well, I think they reached out to him, but he never, his agents and his representatives never returned the call. Can you imagine? That would have been amazing. That would have made this movie so much better if Howard Stern was the radio DJ. Can you imagine him on stage, open up his coat, his bare chest, go... That would have been funny. Of course, that was like only a year or two after he did Private Parts, I think. Wasn't Private Parts like 93 or something? I think it was early 90s, I think. So he was still coming into his own. He was known, but he was still kind of coming into his own there too. We're getting to the point now where John Goodman / Ron Perlman / Biff Tannen his head is... I saw this movie once in the theater. I saw it twice in the theater. And I know what you're thinking. You saw it twice in the theater? Yeah, I was 16 years old. It was my first Halloween experience in the theater. The first time I saw it was by myself. And then I think I went back a week or two later and I watched it with my dad. And my dad, I remember when it got to this part where his head explodes, my dad laughed, but not in a that's just was like, it's so, like really, like he just was laughing. I was laughing at my dad laughing. Like it was just so funny, Frank Riker says he flies in as Fart Man. Who does he flies in as Fart Man? Oh, I think you're talking about, now I'm completely lost. He looks, I see. Oh, I get it. Okay. He spends the best part of the movie worrying his next, okay. Yeah. He flies. Okay. I get it. Yeah. It's true. He played the role well though. I also read that for the part of Dr. Wynn, the writer had Christopher Lee in mind and wanted to get Christopher Lee. And one of the producers was like, no. And it's like, you're not even going to try? Like, not only is Christopher Lee one of the greatest, he's mostly known for the Hammer films in terms of horror and stuff, I think. But I mean, like, that would have been like, just reach out to him. And it would have brought it full circle because obviously, Lee was the first choice, one of the first choices. Peter Cushing was the other to play Dr. Loomis, right? So that would have been a nice little touch. That would have been cool. Now this here with the exploding head and the sparks and everything that's happening, that's where I am. I love that shot, by the way. Slow, pan in on the house with all the electricity in the basement flashing. I like that. This was part of the reshoots, I think. That lighting is great. Again, I haven't watched this movie in a while, and I gotta say, yeah, the cinematography is fantastic. Great cinematography. Ba-da-ba-ba. Jim Dorsey says, great value brand. Biff Tannen needs to... You're right. Frank Riker says, wasn't Wynn the doctor Loomis was talking to in H1 as he's leaving Smith's Grove? Yes. Yeah. Looks nothing like it could be the same guy older, but you're right. I wonder if that guy, at the time of shooting this, I wonder if he was still alive, and if he was an actor, and if he was an actor, if he had an agent, and if they could have reached out to him. I would have tried. I would have done that. Although the Dr. Wynn part in this movie is you do need a solid actor. But his little bit part that he had, Sam, for Christ's sakes, Haddonfield is 150 miles away from here. Now, for Christ's sakes, he can't drive a car. I mean, he seemed to have a little bit of acting chops. That would have been fun to see him. But they also cast the guy that played Dr. Wynn because he was a bit of a name as well. Tabitha Short, hey, Tabitha's piping in, says, so Michael Myers now has blood on his overalls and mask from the head explosion. How does he get the blood off of him? I think he probably goes to the bathroom upstairs, takes off his mask, and wipes it clean. Like, just look at this here as the radio DJ is crossing the parking lot on his cell phone. I mean, the lighting is great. Like, it's very the cinematography looks more in line with Halloween 4 than it does Halloween 5. 100%. 100%. Of course, because of without the producer's cut, I think this scene makes more sense in the producer's cut, because it's like, how is he in the back of this van all of a sudden? And I think in the producer's cut, there's something that helps to justify that. So, but I mean, they probably figured, well, he's the shape, he can be there. Who's to say he's not over there doing that? I mean, it didn't bother me per se when I first saw this, because I'm like, yeah, I mean, okay. Ancient Chinese secret. Yeah, no, it's a good point, though. That head explosion was pretty massive. I remember during this sex scene upstairs, they're about to have it. I remember I was still at that age where I felt a little uncomfortable. Well, I think I was always at that age. I think if my parents were alive today, and even though my parents were pretty hip, especially my dad, because my dad obviously was, with what he did for a living, but my mom was pretty hip too, but I think today, even today as a 40-year-old man, I think I would feel uncomfortable watching any sort of naked sex love scene, with my parents. You know what I mean? It's just that kind of thing. It was a different era. There are some kids that have that, like, their parents are like their friends, and it's like, my parents were never my friends. They were friendly. But they were my parents. Anyways, I remember when this scene began here, they're starting to make out, and I'm sitting here watching this with my dad, and I'm like, kind of felt a little uncomfortable. You know what I mean? It's kind of funny. It's raining. It's raining red. It's raining red. That's the scene I'm at right now, where the girl is dancing around with the body from the DJ. Frank Riker says, my mom would say, close your eyes, Frank, dirty stuff. That's funny. Yeah, no, my mom and dad wouldn't say anything. We just continue to watch, but I just felt uncomfortable. It's funny how that is, isn't it? Especially when you get to a certain age, how it still feels uncomfortable. It must be there's psychological reasons for it, obviously, but yeah, I remember, this is a bit of an off track, but it's very fast. When I was in college, I went to a strip club with a bunch of, my college mates. And I remember there was a guy sitting behind. So this is like, years ago. But I remember there was a guy sitting behind me with an older gentleman. I don't mean like he's, 80. I mean, the guy was probably our age, 20. So the older guy was probably, 45, early 50s maybe. And the waitress came along and said, would you like anything? And he's like, I'll have a beer. And what will you have, Dad? And I remember thinking, oh man, I could never do that. I could never go to a strip club with my dad. Because we're watching women that are my age. So it's like my dad, does my dad look at my friends like that? It's weird to me. It's always, but I guess there's some people have a very sort of equal relationship with their parents. I never had that kind of relationship with my parents. Very weird. Very, very weird. What will you have, Dad? Nope, not happening for me. Tabitha Short said, my dad took me to see Rob Zombie's Halloween. Whoa, what in theaters? Having no idea of the nudity. He flipped out. Oh, well, that I took my 63, at the time my mother was 63, my 63-year-old mother to see that. Because my mom was a big Halloween fan. And, the first 4 minutes into that movie, oh, Skull, fuck you, bitch. It's like, great. If that's what it's going to be like now, what the hell, right? I always thought this was cool. I'm at the scene now where the lovemaking is over. And Michael grabs the guy he looks at himself in the mirror and grabs him from behind and slices his throat. Predictable, but, it's a decent kill. It's a decent kill. Darren Sand says, a good old-fashioned casual sex scene, a rare thing these days. You mean casual in terms of they don't know each other well, or casual in the sense that it wasn't that intimate? Probably both. I agree with you there, Darren. I like how, this is kind of funny. I like how, I think, yeah, she comes in, he comes into the room to kill her. It'd be funny if she was snapping photos. Well, I guess that implies that. Is it motion censored, maybe? Maybe it's motion censored to go off. Maybe that's what that means. Or it's just a stylistic choice for the cuts. Now, I mean, there's nothing really... the kills are not... I will say, though, Alan Howarth's score, I remember when this movie came out, I bought the score on CD, and I like the score. I actually, you know what? I think I still have the score over there. Give me 2 seconds. I think I still have it. Let me see here. I don't know if you guys can still hear me, but I think I still have the score somewhere. I know it's here somewhere. Yes. Awesome. Look at this. I still have this. I purchased in 1995 or 96 probably. Or maybe 95. No, it probably was 95. Look at that right there, folks. There it is. The original soundtrack, purchased in 1995, of the music composed by and performed by Alan Howarth. Halloween theme by John Carpenter. Pretty cool stuff. And there isn't a scratch on it. Look at that. Amazing. Amazing. I will say, I kind of like the idea of Kara here finding her friends in bed, bloodied all over the place. She lifts it down. It's kind of cool. You know, it was all right. Pretty cool, though. The original motion picture soundtrack. I really do like the music. These can be yours for $19.95. Yes, $19.95. Just call now 1-888-555-33355. Tabitha says, Dave, what do you have carved in your pumpkin? Oh, back there. That's actually, it's the original Halloween, logo, like with the hand and the carve. I'll have to turn that on and plug it in. I'm going to have it on for the Two Dudes and Some Bullshit next Thursday. So look for it then. I believe, wasn't it Mr. Dorsey in the chat room here? I think you gave me that, right? I think you did. If you didn't, then my apologies. Then it was somebody else. I thought it was you. Maybe I'm wrong. I like Michael falling down the stairs there. That was kind of cool, I guess. I guess that's kind of cool, man. Anyways, yeah, it's carved, the original Halloween with the fist and the knife and things like that. It's carved into the foam pumpkin, and I'll be able. Yep, that was me. Cool. Yes. So Jim Dorsey gave me that. Where are we? Oh, right there. And next Thursday, I'm gonna have it on. I'm gonna have it on for episode 44 of Two Dudes and Some Bullshit. It's gonna be awesome. I always liked this. I gotta say, I always liked this. When she goes to the bottom of the stairs. Oh, she already went to the bottom of the stairs. Damn, I missed it. I was talking. I liked when she looked and she came around the corner and he was lying at the bottom of the stairs. Just the shot looked creepy to me. It was a creepy shot, but I missed it because I was talking. Anyway. Again, this is a little predictable. You know, we know that he's gonna grab her leg, but you know, yeah, it's bound to happen. And there's no doubt that I think Michael has been working out because he's a lot bigger than he was in Halloween 1 and 2. They must have a gym at Smiths Grove Sanitarium where he just like bench presses. You know, that's all he does, just bench press. Just every day, just... Frank Riker says, you mean Black Christmas Pumpkin? Black Christmas Pumpkin? Oh, I get what you're saying now. Okay, yeah. Yes. I get it. Darren says, if she sticks that poker in Wilbur, perhaps he'll... It's that British wit. That's true, though. It's true. He's a little chunky. I think he's beaten a little too many Twinkies at Smiths Grove Sanitarium. And I think Wilbur wanted to come back. I think Wilbur was open or wanted to come back for H2O or something. And it was like, nah. I don't think they wanted him back. But anyway. So at the scene now, of course, where they've met up with Loomis. You see, Joe Chappell said what he said about Dr. Loomis because he wasn't a fan of the franchise. Now, I don't know if it's because he's just ignorant or just a fucking douchebag, but to actually say that Loomis was boring, and it tells you that he doesn't understand the character. He doesn't understand the value that the character brings and how to utilize that character. I mean, why would you say that?
Hello, dearie. I'm in on it too. I bet you never guessed that.
That was my Mrs. Blankenship. So the big reveal has been made. We find out it's Dr. Wynn, who's the man in black, and Mrs. Blankenship is in on it, and then it just cuts, and all of a sudden Dr. Loomis and Tommy are standing out in the yard, having come to. They didn't take them. Great lighting, though. Great cinematography. It's too bad it's in a movie that's like this. Too bad. Frank Riker says the producer's cut explains the size growth. Does it? Does not. Does it explain the size? What? What do they say? I haven't seen the producer's cut in a few years. I don't remember them saying that. Are you pulling my leg, Frank? What? Well, he's just big, man. He's just fucking pumping that iron, bitches. Jacqueline McEwen says, and both Tommy and Dr. Loomis wake up already standing up. That's right. That's right. That's right. They're already there. That tells you that there was something either missing or cut or, you know. And I believe the hospital or the operating room massacre, I think, was something that was shot. I think that was part of the reshoots, if I'm not mistaken. Jim Dorsey says, my next door neighbor is named Mrs. Blankenship. Are you serious? Really? Wow, what a coinky dink, huh? That's interesting. You know, the producer's cut doesn't explain it, but you know who does explain it? Tom Atkins. Tom Atkins explains it. He knows everything. Tom Atkins explains it. You're a madman. This is where Dr. Loomis says, madman, but he goes, madman. You're a madman. A madman. Of course, I believe some of these were insert shots, part of a reshoot that I don't think Dr. Wynn here is even speaking to Loomis. There's something, I'm a bit hazy on the details, but it is something like that. And when Loomis gets hit over the head from behind, I don't think that, obviously it wouldn't be Dr. Loomis anyway, falling to the ground. The guy's so old he needs a cane. But that's a different actor altogether. I believe. But I could be wrong. Frank says, didn't Loomis and Blankenship go to prom together? I think they did. Can you imagine if they had that twist in here?
Oh, that's my ex-husband, dear.
And he's like, get out of here. It's a whole different subplot and everything. And I will say this, though, something they could introduce in Halloween Kills. And like at this point, why the fuck not? I mean, really, at the end of the day, you know, did Loomis have a kid? I mean, did he have a son or a daughter? It's never explored. I don't think they explored it because I've always thought that they felt it was a little too on the nose. They felt it was a little too convenient. Oh, he has a son who takes over for him, who walked the same path and became a doctor and a psychiatrist, and now he takes over for and yeah, that is a little on the nose. You know? So I've always sort of felt that maybe they didn't explore that because of that. I'm at the part here where this creepy inmate at Smith's Grove Sanitarium is talking to Tommy Doyle. Talking to Mr. Ant-Man, future Ant-Man. She's giving some exposition. I'm creepy and weird, and I've been stabbed, and I just need you to know that this is a creepy and weird place that you're in, and you're not going to get out. Got it. Do you know how much more meaningful, and they actually wanted, believe it or not, Brian Andrews for this role. They wanted Brian Andrews for this role. But like today, he had no representation and they didn't know who to contact. And you have to have representation. It's a union production. You can't just pay you out of pocket. Yeah, no problem there, Andrew. Okay, we'll just pay you. We'll just negotiate yourself. You know, they're not allowed to do that by union rules. So he didn't have any representation, so they couldn't. And of course he wasn't acting really, But how much more meaningful this scene would have been. Imagine this isn't Paul Rudd smashing the fire hydrant on the door handle, which is where I am, by the way. I don't know where you guys are. Imagine if it was Brian Andrews looking at Michael for the first time in, nearly 20 years. I mean, that just would have added. That's why it's so important, if you can, to keep consistency with the actors in the roles of those characters. It means so much more, especially when you're telling stories over years and building arcs. It means so much more to the movie, to the story, and to the audience, because it's not like it's somebody playing Tommy Doyle. That is Tommy Doyle. Do you know what I mean? So, anyway.
We got Paul Rudd.
Darren Sand says, no toothpaste in Smith's Grove. No toothpaste. They got a lot of Twinkies, though. They got a lot of Twinkies. And Michael gets very pissed off when he doesn't get to eat his Twinkies. So I'm coming up, or where am I? I am an hour and 14 minutes into the movie. So, no, I'm 74 minutes into, an hour and 14 minutes into the movie. 74 minutes into the movie. And Dr. Wynn is going into the operating room where all the cult dressed in the pagan, and I get it. I mean, you're building off what was talked about in Halloween 2 in that brief scene, well, and also in the back of the marshal's car too. I get it. I mean, it was, if you're going to expand it, I understand it. Watching this on its own merits, it is what it is. And I certainly enjoy this movie more than I enjoy Halloween 5. And then one could argue and say, well, yeah, but you wouldn't have, this movie if you didn't have Halloween 5. And well, yeah, but that's not true. You don't need a Man in Black and the Cult of Thorn to make a movie about this. You don't need that. This movie was made because, and it's not like the filmmakers knew what they were doing with, with Halloween 5. They had no idea. I mean, the director's just like, I don't fucking know, man. Just think it's pretty cool. We'll let the other people figure it out. And then, of course, it went into the rights thing, and the rights went back to the original holders, and that's why there was this long delay. And anyway, I mean, I enjoy this movie for the cinematography because I think there are some nice moments. There's certainly, I think the Shape is he's full on supernatural at this point, in my opinion, even though they're drawing a conclusion to an explanation of a cult and the Druids and paganism and the Cult of Thorn and, and there's, and that he's supernaturally possessed, so it might not all be his doing, and they're offering this explanation and this backstory. I do enjoy this much of the cinematography, which I think is, but again, the bar was so low from where we came from, that it makes like, wow, this is what it's supposed to look like. Darren Sand says, so is the shot of Donald being struck over the head an insert to work around the scenes he didn't shoot due to his death? I think that's entirely possible. I don't know that, but that's possible. So now I'm at the moment where Michael is going crazy, absolutely crazy in the operating room, and I think this was a pickup shot. Like I think it was not a pickup shot, but a part of the reshoots, I should say. A pickup shot is different. I think this was I think because they wanted more blood, more gore, and the Weinsteins did. And I think this is... Now, is this in the producer's cut? Is the operating thing in the producer's cut? I can't remember. I haven't seen the producer's cut in a long time. I think it is. Now, is this guy running down the hall, is this not supposed to be Michael's father or something? Or his uncle? What the fuck? I thought I heard that. That's just so weird. It's just so weird. This scene isn't. No, it's not. Okay. All right. I thought I heard that. So he's just a he's just a guy there that Michael wants to smash his head. No, it's not. Okay, so it's not. It's only in the theatrical cut. Okay, fascinating. Fascinating. I got to watch the producer's cut again. Again, folks, we will do a producer's cut Halloween 6 Curse of Michael Myers. But I wanted to get this one out of the way because, no, this is what they told us was the movie and the story. I hated the ending. I hated the ending to this, smashing him over the head and the green slime coming out. I remember being in the theater thinking to myself, green slime? What is it? What? Like, why is there green slime? Hated it. Hated it. And of course, this isn't George P. Wilbur in the costume. I don't believe. Frank Riker says, in the producer's cut, Karen is on an altar. Is it Karen or is it Kara? Karen is the name of the girl in the new movies. I thought it was Kara. Of course, by the time I look this up, you guys will probably already have told me in the chat room. Yeah, it's Kara. Yeah, Kara. Yeah, I was right. Kara. It's Kara. Yeah, Kara. It's kind of a nice name, Kara. You don't hear that name too often. So yeah, I don't even think this is George P. Wilbur here, actually, to be honest with you. In the producer's cut, it's Kara lying. Yes, that's right. And it's Dr. Loomis also at the beginning. He does the voiceover as well. There's a lot of change. I mean, I'm not going to say the producer's cut is a different movie altogether. It plays out in much of the same way, but there's definitely things that give that more context, that flesh out the story that they're trying to tell. But that doesn't make the story better. I mean, look at the ending. Michael's walking off in the Man in Black costume. Like, are you kidding me? Come on. Andrew Solid. Steven says, Michael Lerner is Michael for reshoots. They done. Yes. Yeah. That's right. And of course, I'm at the moment here where Tommy's psyching Michael out. He thinks that Michael's going to get the baby. And he doesn't. Because there's nothing in there. And Tommy beats him over the head with a pipe. Oh, yeah, first he stabs him with all the poison. That's right. I forgot about that. Trying to neutralize Michael Myers. It's an EMT day. Oh, the guy that ran down the hall was an EMT? Okay. Thought I heard something about his father. Weird. I must have been fucking, I don't know, high or something. I don't know the fuck. High on life, baby. High on life. So yeah, now Kara's getting in on it. She's beating him with a metal pipe. Holy shit, that's right. Take this, you fucking son of a bitch. So Michael then would be what? Her, like, great uncle? Her second cousin? The fuck? I'm totally confused. I forget now. The mask neckline is poor. It looks like it's ready to pop off. Yeah. Yeah, there's a bit of that there. Yeah, it looks too big as well for the person wearing it. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's right. Looks too big. Looks too big. It probably is too big. Frank Riker. Michael always does the old switcheroo. Yep. This is where it began. I don't think he did the switcheroo in any of the other movies where he actually switches outfits. That's just so ridiculous. He's beating Michael down. This is what the Weinsteins wanted. The Weinsteins wanted this. And then Loomis all of a sudden shows up. Come on, get in. Let me shoot the hurry. That's true, Frank. At least his hair isn't white. That's a very good point. That's a very good point. That's very true. Here comes the one last blow to get all the green slime. No, I can't take it. I'm going to hit you again. We need some more gore and guts. Yeah, green slime, bitch. What is that and why? And this ending, oh my God. And it just cuts to Dr. Loomis saying, you know, I have some unfinished business to take care of or whatever. I can't hear it, obviously. I know that's what he says, though. And Doyle is like, come with us, come with us. No, I got some unfinished business to take care of. And he just goes inside and you just hear his scream. And that's it. Like, what? So what happened? Did he go inside? No, I always was, you know, because you see the mask lying on the ground and not Michael. So it's implied that Michael has attacking Loomis, killing him because he's still alive. And there's his scream right there. The Myers mask on the ground with the needle. The mask looks in great shape, by the way. There's no green slime over anything, in memory of Donald Pleasance. Oh, God. I just think what a horrible movie to go out on. And that's it. And there we go. Also starring J.C. Brandy. I think I said, did I say Bradley? It's Brandy. Did I say that at the beginning? Maybe I said that right. I don't know. Anyway, got her in there. And that's it. I mean, that is the theatrical cut of Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, that was it. You know, and yeah, the producer's cut, we're going to watch the producer's cut. I don't know when, but I will definitely throw it up for a Saturday movie night voting sometime in the future. And we will watch the producer's cut together. And it'll be really interesting to see, you know, to see it and watch it together and how it differs and all that kind of jazz. But I remember it, you know, and I remember that ending going, so it's Dr. Wynn lying on the ground and some sort of like, you know, got the stones all around and Michael, and then it's that last shot of Michael walking off and he does that turn where you kind of see his silhouette. I'm like, what? Oh, it's so much better. Well, it's so much better in the sense that it's better to the story they were telling. But it's not better. Come on. You know? Anyway, that's how I feel about it. Anyways, folks, my name's Dave McRae. Hey, everybody in the chat room, who do we got? We got Andrew Solid Stevens, Frank Riker, Tabitha Short, Jim Dorsey, Darren Sands, Jacqueline McEwen. Who else we got in here? I know some others. Thunderknock Studios. And, of course, a few others probably that weren't chiming in and just watching along. Tommy Ricknell. Yeah, thank you again for your support, for supporting the channel, guys, each and every month. It's greatly appreciated. And for those of you that are watching after the fact, you rock as well. Thanks for supporting the channel by tuning in and watching my vids. And yeah, reminder to those who are in the chat now and to those who are watching after the fact, next Thursday night, it's going to be Thursday because it's Halloween, a very special episode of Two Dudes and Some Bullshit. Tony, Michael, and I are watching the original Halloween live right here on my channel for everybody to tune in and watch. So that is 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time next Thursday night, October 31st. And yeah, we'll be taking your questions throughout watching as well. So that's going to be a lot of fun. So yeah, in the meantime and in between time, that is going to do it for me, folks. Alrighty, have a great Saturday night. I will talk to you guys soon. Cheers.